What you're about to hear is raw. These are honest conversations about healing, mental health, and the weight we carry. While we are mental health professionals, this is not a substitute for therapy. The views shared here belong to those speaking, shaped by their stories, not by their institutions. Listen with care. Take what you need.
And when it happened, I was so hurt. I'm like, damn, I'm like, that was my bro. And I ain't talked to him in years. Why didn't I check in on him? Why can I just eat, hey, what you doing? Why? I put so much pressure on myself. Like, bro, why didn't I do better?
Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Shift to Heal. My name is Miwin, also known as Mimi, but if you haven't stayed long enough, you haven't had the opportunity to call me Mimi, so stay tuned. I'm currently an LPC associate, licensed professional counselor, if you didn't know. I currently specialize in working with adolescents, kids on the spectrum with autism. I also am very passionate about my community, the Asian community, especially the Vietnamese community. I also do enjoy working with adults, especially adults that are in their early 20s and mid 20s. This is my support pillow that I like to have with me. I'm a little bit of an anxious person, especially on camera, but we're working through it. So I have this pillow with me. If you know, you know. Next time you see me, you'll probably see a different pillow. So stay tuned for that as well. In this episode, we'll be discussing you're not depressed, you're just lazy, and other lies, including the mental health space and dealing with depression. I have our special guest here, Terry. Introduce yourself.
I'm Terry Jenkins Jr. You guys have seen me a lot by now. Again, licensed professional counselor, associates, earning it right now. And again, just kind of get into it. So there is a stigma against depression, right? And it's across cultures, from the Black community, the Asian community. There's a kind of thought that depression is not real. And it's a very real thing and should be taken extremely serious. So, Mimi, I'll kind of let you start how it's kind of displayed or viewed in the Asian community when someone has depression. How is that viewed from everyone else in the community?
I think in the Asian community, especially for the Vietnamese one, I don't think depression is something that's really known, if I'm being honest, because I've never really encountered people that talk about depression. It's just more so you just have to do what you have to do. So, what is this feeling of being sad or like you're low in energy or whatever the case may be for someone that's dealing with depression? It's not really talked about, it's not acknowledged. I think we've progressed in some ways of knowing what mental health is and like learning about things, but it's more so things that you can see versus things that you're feeling. So in that aspect, the emotional side is not really acknowledged, especially in our culture. How about yours?
Same. Again, I love how you put that. Right, it's we focus on more of what you can see,
Right.
than the emotional part because you can't really see that. So depression in my community, the Black community, is often looked at as weakness. Boy, you alright. You'll be good. Get back up. Fix your face. Yeah, what you whining for? You ain't sad. You just spend all your time in the room doing nothing. Get out your room. Why you? Yeah, you know that boy. He like to be back in his room all the time. I don't know what's going on with him. Something wrong with him. Something wrong. But if we bring up depression, it's almost like you're talking about a myth. It's like you can't explain what's going on with me, but if I say I'm depressed, you tell me, nah, you ain't depressed. You nah, you can't be depressed because depression is a sign of weakness. Why are you always sad? Why are you down? Why do you feel like you can't make it through the day emotionally? And as Black men, we're often taught to suppress our emotions and kind of like you said, push through. You gotta do what you gotta do. And if I stop for a while and talk about how I feel, then it's almost like I'm making an excuse. And if I'm making an excuse, that's a sign of weakness because you're not supposed to make excuses. You're supposed to have the ability to just push through, no matter what's happening because you're a man and that's what you got to do. And so it's a huge misconception because a lot of people do battle depression and it can impact in a lot of different ways when, we'll get to kind of later on. but it's very serious because it can lead to a life-ending situation.
Right.
If it's not addressed properly. So, I've had people in my life that are dear to me. I won't say their name because I don't know if they want me to talk about, but they've dealt with depression. Honestly, two people that I can think of off the top of my head, very close relationship, and they've dealt with feeling less. Bro, I'm not where I want to be, right? I'm 30 and I'm still with my mom. I'm 30 and I still work this job that I hate, and I just feel like every day is just the same. I'm not happy, and I don't know if I can find the happiness. I don't even know what to do to what approach to take to find happiness. I'm just feel stuck in a cycle that I feel like will never change. And so you have people who have those serious feelings, but they don't really have anyone they feel comfortable wanting to talk to because all they're gonna do is try to inspire them. You'll be alright, bro. Nah, bro, you gotta work through it, bro. I know you don't like the job, bro, but everybody got a job they don't like. They kind of put you in a box, like everybody feels this way.
Right.
Not recognizing that the emotions you have are extremely serious.
Yeah, they're very real, and they can be on the extreme end. How do you think that people that deal with depression try and come out and help others in that aspect, since you're like on your journey to being an LPC associate?
First, education. Especially when it comes to my community, right? We have to relearn the way we think because we're programmed to think a certain way. Again, we're programmed to think if you're sad, if you're upset, if you have any type of negative emotion, that's weakness. So we have to reprogram ourselves to view it as not a weakness, but first off, the fact that you're recognizing it is actually a strength. Because that's the acknowledgement, exactly. Because that's the first step in change, right? If you are in denial and you keep saying nothing is wrong with me, because when I talk to people, they say nothing's wrong with me, right? So nothing's wrong with me. I'm fine. I'm just weird. I'm just different. I don't know why I feel, and this person I'm thinking of, but they love to use, I feel low. I don't know why I feel so low. I don't feel why I feel so drained. But when you actually come out and say, hold on, I believe I'm dealing with depression, that's the first step. Because now you can seek the proper help. You can actually go to someone and receive mental help for that depression. But if you're in denial, you're stuck where you're dealing with it by yourself. And it can be very difficult because, again, most of your peers are going to tell you nothing's wrong with you. You'll get over it. And so if you're stuck, you're already depressed. You feel like it's a battle that you're fighting yourself, and it's a battle that can get to the point where you don't want to fight anymore. And what do people normally do when they get to the point where they don't want to fight anymore? They end their lives, which is the downside of depression. The suicide rate is up amongst Black males. Biggest reason, the biggest thing that leads to suicide is depression, feeling alone. Feel like no one cares. I've reached out to my friend. I reached out to my mom. I reached out to my dad. Everybody's saying, you're all right. Suck it up. Deal with it. And I'm telling you that life is overwhelming. Well, it's going to get to a point where I just really not live it anymore. And so that's why it's so important for us in our community to recognize when that person comes out and say, hey, I'm not feeling too well. Just take it seriously. Don't ignore that. If you don't know what to do, seek a professional. Hey, bro, I understand you came to me and said, you feel like you're depressed. I believe you.
Right.
I can't say I understand how you feel, but I believe you. What I believe should be the next step is for you to go seek mental health. I'm not the proper child. I'm your best friend. We can talk about it. I'm always here to listen, but I can't help you with this. But if you seek a professional, they can and will help you through this journey. And then I also think we got to understand that depression looks different in everybody. Because some people are depressed, but they do a great job at hiding.
Yeah, masking.
Masking it, exactly.
I call them functional depressive state.
Yeah. To the point where you're around a lot of people and you may seem very popular and you may seem, like everything in your life is going well, but deep down inside,
Something's not right.
something's not right. Either again that feeling of emptiness or feeling alone or feeling, just not where you're supposed to be. And unfortunately, a lot of times with those type of people, we can miss those signs until it is too late and that person has taken their life. And then it's like, I never saw that coming. I've lost 2 people as of this year to suicide. And both, when I think about it, I'm trying not to get too emotional, but both were very tough because both individuals are great men. One he was a deacon at our church. We all grew up in church, probably like 7 of us. And he was the coolest person ever. We had to get up, I grew up coaching. So we had to get up 7 o'clock in the morning to attend men's manor, which is basically men prayer. And he would be there, and he was always pouring into us as youth. Like, he was always pouring into us. Always upbeat. We would, because we didn't want to sit in church all day, we would sit out front and do security, basically open the doors for people and watch out for the church where our service is going on.
I can see you doing that.
And he knew what we was doing, right? So he would come out there and talk to us and educate us and just put us on game about different things. And when it happened, I was a little older. I was in college. I want to say I was a sophomore in college. So when I got the news, it was like, why? How? What was going? Like, this is the person that every time I talked to encouraged me. AT, keep playing. I know people might think you weird, bro, but keep playing soccer. You good at it. That's something that you do. AT, I see you, bro. You good at public speaking. I see you get on the mic at church. I can see you being this in the future. I can see you speaking nothing but positivity into my life. This is a person who influenced me as a young black man to be who I am today. And it's like, what kind of darkness was he going through for him to take a gun? And it's like, this is a man with 2 children and a wife, young children. I believe at the time his daughter was maybe around 7, 8 years old.
Really young.
And so it's like, what was going on? And that confusion, I feel like, hit not only us, but the entire church at the time. Because it's like, this is a person who we interacted with every day, every Sunday, Wednesday. Again, I grew up coaching Thursday, sometimes Monday, Tuesday, sometimes the whole week. But this is a person that I interacted with so much. How did I miss it? Could I've said something different? Instead of him coming to encourage me all the time, what if I would have just asked, how you doing, one time? Instead of, trying and depending on him to uplift me so much, what if I would have tried to uplift him one time? Ask him how he's doing. And so I say that to everyone out there with that strong friend, right? That friend who, in your friend group, he's the person that everybody goes to. That friend that seemed like he got it all figured out, seemed like life is perfect. Reach out to that person, man. Talk to him. Ask them how they doing. Ask them how they doing. Ask how they are mentally. Check in on them. Even though social media may seem like they don't need you to check on them because they're going here and doing that and doing social media. All it is a highlight of someone's life. It's not. It doesn't tell the full story. So check in on your strong friends. Because the second person I lost was one of somebody who I consider a strong friend. Funny. Probably one of the funniest guys I ever met in my entire life. Like, always joking. And then to find out this year that he got to a point where he decided to take his life, everybody was confused. The whole community was confused. All my friends from back home, the friends I have now, they was like, bro, what happened? What was going on in his life? Everybody was just kind of like lost. I feel like I'm talking too much, but but it's important to check in on people.
Right.
Because depression is not, like you said earlier, it's not something you can look at and see physically. You have to talk to people and find out and dig and see how they're doing emotionally.
I can agree with you.
And that's important. That last piece that you said, you got to dig, right? I don't know if this is a stereotype because it's just a me thing. Can I speak to the Asian community real fast?
Yeah.
So,
Go for it.
anime.
Yeah.
I feel like anime is used for Asian people to speak about their mental health because they don't do it out loud. But if you watch certain animes, they definitely talking about how, because it's the writer writing, right? I know it's a writer's room, but usually like Dragon Ball Z, God rest his soul, when he wrote it, he's putting a lot of his depression. Like Goku goes through a lot of that stuff that he goes through, and he's cheerful and ha 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 stuff like that. But then there's moments where Goku is low, and everybody in the crowd is just like, "Oh, Goku will be alright. It's Goku. He gonna power up."
Yeah.
But we don't. We just kind of like throw it off. But let Vegeta get down. Everybody like, "Yo, what's
going on?"
You know what I'm saying? Why are we doing that? You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of writers, period, do that, right? Robin Williams is one of those people that he gave life to everybody, but then he was depressed and nobody knew, right? So, one, I'm asking you, in the Asian community, you feel like that's true? This is my analysis of it. It's not a stereotype, right?
Yeah.
Because this is just me paying attention to anime. And then two, how do we dig deeper if some people are just phenomenal at keeping that mask on, like me and you talked about in our past episode?
Right.
Question for both of y'all.
I guess I'll start. I would say I do agree with you with the anime stuff.
Okay.
There is a lot of underlying meaning to a lot of animes, especially if you dig deeper, because in Japanese culture, they don't take care of their mental health, and it shows. Like if you watch news and everything, but also in the Vietnamese community too. Like I said earlier, my parents probably would never know what depression is or any of that, or like understanding what it feels to be low and not just lazy because you're not doing anything, but it's like you just don't have the energy to do so, or like the mental capacity to do so. And so bringing back to what you were saying with checking in and stuff, I remember when I was getting older and like really empathizing with my parents, I always told my moms like, how come you never ask me how I'm doing? Like you'll ask me A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you'll ask how's your grades, like how's work, or like all of that stuff, like everything else, very superficial stuff. But it's like you never sit down and you ask me like, how was your day? Like, what did you do today? And I really had to have that talk with her. And then I realized, oh, I never really asked her like how her day was either. And like I strongly believe that my mother is very strong, like for everything that she's done for our family and everything. But it's like, wow, like she never asks me about my day, but I also never ask her about her day. So it's like, how would I understand any of her struggles? I'm a strong believer that she does mask a lot of her stuff, and so does my dad. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know if it's because we're Asian, we just don't do that. Like, especially in the Vietnamese community, we don't tell each other I love you, or like, at least in my family, we're not affectionate in that aspect. Like we give like more so in like quality time, having dinner together, throwing parties, and like my dad's big love language is cooking, and my mom is like just taking care of us and like doing things that I'll ask. But it's like I never asked my parents like, what did y'all do today, or how was your day, or how was work? And I realized that's something that I'll probably have to teach them, like in the long run. Is like, this is how I want you to like approach me with conversations, not just you come home and you start asking me about your bills and like translating and doing all this stuff. Is like, I can take care of you in that aspect, of course, but it's like, wow, we just never talk about our days or anything. So it's like, y'all could have been dealing with depression since moving here and I would have never known, or at least they wouldn't know and understand themselves either. So yeah. Digging. I think one is going to be a language barrier, really understanding that aspect. And then like for me, I'm a big empathetic person, and in all the videos you guys watch, I'm always going to bring up empathy. But I think learning how to empathize with them on their level, it would be a way for me to really understand on that level and how to dig. I really do think even if I did dig, they probably wouldn't say anything anyway. So I think moving forward, especially if I ever have kids or anything, and like younger people around me in my community, I would really have to show them how to dig. But I think for our older generation, it's going to be a lot harder in terms of digging, but just more so empathizing with like whatever it is that they have dealt with since immigrating and everything. So
can I say something to the both of y'all?
Yeah.
I want to give my answer to the digging.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all due respect to both of y'all and what I'm about to say. You can't.
Mm.
You can't dig more than the person wants to dig. So what I'm gonna implore you, especially you, Terry, what you've been through, be present moving forward for everybody that you feel you need to be present for, but you can't do more than the person. Same thing with you, me. Like, you can't go further than what your parents want to go, but you're doing an amazing job, as you call it, exposure therapy, right? You see it working. You're planting the seed. It's working, right?
Yeah.
But it's only so far you can go without draining yourself, right? So I don't want y'all blaming yourselves for anything. My biggest thing is make memories, make sure that you treat the people properly, empathy, right? Have a little sympathy if that's your thing, and have fun. Because even though you laid out, hey, I lost 2 people, and you went down, right? You showed us everything. You painted a picture for us, right? I also was back here laughing because I was like, oh, you was doing security. He came over, he checked out. I don't even know this man, but now I got good memories of him because you got good memories of him.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mimi, I don't know your parents. I have not met them yet. I haven't met them yet, right? But I now know that, hey, mom has it in her head that little by little, she may not want to, but she being exposed to mental health. She's being exposed to, oh, maybe that's depression. Is that what my daughter be talking about? You know what I mean? And she'll, you know what I mean? She gets to laugh it off, and I guess my daughter knows a little something. You know what I mean? And I think that that's a beautiful thing. Both of y'all got to take that in stride. How do you dig deeper? You don't. You enjoy the present moment. You be there for the person, and you let your cup runneth over. That's the whole saying. Let your cup run over. That is what it's about. It's about pouring into yourself, so that it's so much in yourself that it runs over to other people. Not you be draining on. I can give you the shirt off my back. Hold on. You're giving the shirt off your back.
Not my Kermit shirt, guys. Sorry.
Hear me out. Another cancel moment for me. All right. You only give the shirt off your back when you either are instructed by a higher power, right? Right? Or 2, in the physical realm, what I'm talking about, if you got another shirt in the car, man, I'm not walking around with no shirt, bro. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I love you, but I'm not doing it. If you're not my wife, I'm not doing it.
No, for real.
I cannot give you something that I don't have to give. Let me run over my cup, and then you can have all residuals all day.
I like that. And again, 2 things. One, I love how you say enjoy the moments, because one guy, man, and if you're in Monticello, you know who I'm talking about. Man, he has such a big influence on my life. Like, my family moved a lot in Arkansas because stuff I can't speak about, but my family got in some trouble, and we moved a lot. And it was a point when we had to move to Monticello. And I remember going to that school, and I was kind of an outcast until I saw this person, and he saw me, and bro, we immediately became friends. But that's who he was. He was friendly to everybody. And one of the most important moments of any person's, no matter what gender, one of the most important moments of a person's life, he helped me experience that. Like, I was 18, about to go to college, and in my mind, I'm like, bro, I can't go to college being a virgin. Like, I can't do that. Like, I can't go to college being a virgin. I had a girlfriend at the time, and she lived in Crossett, Arkansas.
How far is that?
And it's about 45 minutes from Monticello. And back home at the time, we called it slabs. I know in Houston, y'all call it slabs. It's the swingers on it. But we call going a far distance to see somebody a slab. And he had a girl in Crossett too. And he knew, like, everybody in school knew Terry. Terry was the perfect Christian boy. He didn't cuss, he didn't drink, he didn't smoke. He just golden. So when he found out, like, I wanted to lose, and he was like, hey, bro, you trying to go to CrossFit? Like, you trying? And I was like, yeah, but I ain't got no ride. He's like, no, bro, I'm taking you. Like, I'm taking you, bro. I'm taking you. And he drove me. I told my parents, you gotta give your parents a story. I told, hey, I'm gonna be staying in his house tonight. We just gonna play video games. I like, okay, cool. They let me go. And I remember hopping in this little truck that barely started, and we took off. You know what I'm saying? And he took me, you know what I'm saying, took me to the girl house, whatever happened, and we drove back. And I just remember that experience, and that's something I remember for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. And this person was a part of that And so when he passed, because we hadn't spoken, I think the last time we spoke was after we both had graduated college. And he was looking for a job. He saw I was doing well in Houston. He was looking for a job or whatever. He DM'd me, and I DM'd him back, "You tips?" And that was the last time we spoke. And when it happened, I was so hurt, because I'm like, damn, like, that was my bro, and I ain't talked to him in years. Why didn't I check in on him? Why can I just hey, what you doing? Why? I put so much pressure on myself, like, bro, why didn't I do better? You know what I'm saying? Like, why it's been 3 years since I connected with this person? What if it was something I could do? I saw he had his kids. I just thought he was doing great in life. So again, I appreciate what you said, because they really helped me. Because you got to enjoy those experiences. And then you only, with other people I'm dealing with now, you only can do so much. You try to be consistent. You know, I have a friend who, he talks about taking his life sometimes. And I make sure every other day to check on him. But as my family grows, I have a new daughter who's, 6, going on 6 weeks now. I have a 5-year-old daughter. Sometimes I can't answer the phone for him. You know what I'm saying? And he's used to me, we talking every single day. But I had to tell him one time, like, hey, bro, we've had these conversations 1,000 times. I need you to get to the point where if you feel like you're about to have one of those moments, it's my job as your friend to prepare you to be able to have those moments yourself.
Facts.
I can't allow you to use me as a crutch, because I'm not going to always be available. If I got my daughter and I'm rocking, I'm trying to put her to sleep, you know what I'm saying, and she need to go to sleep, I can't answer the phone. If I'm outside with Zola, my 5-year-old, and she wants daddy attention, she needs daddy attention because we playing Trouble or we playing Candyland, I can't just pick up the phone and answer. I got to give that time to her because she comes first. I have to be present. So it's my job to equip you with the tools so when you're having those situations, you can still handle it. That doesn't make me a bad friend.
It makes you a better friend.
Exactly.
That's all.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how do you keep asking for help when everyone around you insists you're fine?
One person, me?
Ignore them. A simple solution, ignore them. No, I'm just playing. I think at that point, if you're really needing help and everyone else says that, you know, everything's okay and you truly feel like you need help, I think going on Google and looking for a therapist, we're here. But yeah, I think just taking that first big step and finding help outside of what you call your support circle is the important step. I always tell my clients, like, you took the big first step in coming to see me or whoever it is that is your therapist, especially that first session. You might only go to one session and be like, nah, fuck therapy. But at least you went to that first session. You're like, okay, so this is what therapy is. Do I really need this? You know? So I think just stepping outside your comfort zone is a big step. And like everybody can say, oh, you're fine. But if you're not fine, then you know that you're not fine. Then find that first step.
You know yourself.
Yeah.
Trust yourself. You know you better than anybody can begin to understand who you are. So if you feel that, trust that instinct and seek help. It's okay to seek help. And then sometimes, just to be blunt with you, you gotta change it up. You gotta change your friend group. If you got a bunch of people, you tell them, hey, I'm hurt. Hey, man, I'm hurt. And they just like, bro, you all right? Maybe not the people you want to be around. You know, you might need to change your circle a little bit and get some other people who may care. I'm not saying they don't care, but people who care a little bit more about you. Because again, when I had some individuals come to me, I was like, all right, bro, you ain't in this by yourself. We're going to get through this together. You know what I'm saying? And that's the response you want to have. And if you have a friend or individual who's dealing with that, you got to be honest with them. Like I had to tell my bro, I can't. And it's funny because he knows I'm going to school to be a psychologist. He knows what I'm doing. He knows who I am. He's like, bro, you give me free therapy. But I always tell him, like, bro, listen. First off, I'm going to start charging you. Secondly,
I'll charge you double, if anything.
Secondly, I can't be your therapist.
I can only be one or the other.
I can't.
Wait, hold on.
I can't.
Time out. Disclaimer, y'all. Oh, wait, this is my camera. Disclaimer. Terry knows that he cannot give therapy to family ethically, okay? Don't be in the comments bombing my guy. Go ahead, continue.
Thank you. It goes against our ethics. I can't do that. I'm not in a position to do that. So I told him, hey, bro, you have to go seek an independent therapist.
Mm-hmm.
He did. And it was great, but it came back. It was funny because he's like, "Yeah, bro, she told me everything you said."
So
the same thing you told me, you had already told me. She just said what you said. So he kept going for like 2 more steps, and then he relied on me. But but again, you have to let people know, like even if you, especially you don't have my background, like, hey, bro, I'm not a professional. Get some help from a professional. It's okay to get help from a professional. If you have a job, look at your benefits. It's in there. It's in there.
That part.
Check your benefits. Go to your manager. Go to your boss. Hey, I'm dealing with some things mentally. How do I work my benefits to get free sessions or to get started with mental health? A lot of jobs offer it. Matter of fact, I even want to say most jobs require it. And so seek help. If it's something you can't feel like you can't afford, there's affordable options. But you have to get on Google. You have to do the research. But do what you have to do to seek help, because what you're going through is serious. Don't downplay it. It's serious. And we want to get you now while you're still dealing with it and you're alive to deal with it before it's too late. So seek help. And seek help. And if you got friends, tell them to seek help.
Y'all both said it. You got to know yourself, right? So I like to tell people you are a walking, living, breathing tree, right? And my sister gave me this. She told me people in your life are going to be roots or they're going to be leaves. Leaves, they sprout out, they with you, then they fall off during the different seasons, right? So they're seasonal. Your roots help you build you up, right? In your case, your situation, your man's, he helped you build you up. You got that experience. Hey, I ain't gonna be a virgin going to college. Like, you have that core memory, regardless if he's not here physically or not. That is your root, right? The important piece what people have to remember though is roots rot too. So if you're not taking care of you as a tree, the tree under you, you may not see what's going on, but the tree knows something's wrong. So if the tree is reaching out to an arborist for help, find a different arborist. If the arborist is like, yo, that's not really fungus, bro, it's just mushrooms. Nah, fuck that. He don't know what he's talking about. Let me get another arborist. Same concept that y'all saying, just for somebody else in the audience, the listener that may not understand fully. I'm giving it to you in a different perspective. Find somebody that's willing to sit down, figure out what's going on with you. Seal, y'all know who Seal is, the R&B artist? He was questioning about the scars on his face. So he said it was a form of lupus. But he never knew that until he got famous. It wasn't until he got money and was able to afford a doctor that was, I guess, top echelon, and was like, oh, you got lupus. It's the same thing. We don't have to have the money though. If you're telling people around you, hey, I'm not okay, and you know you're not okay, go find somebody else to tell. There are literally strangers on the street that will listen to what you're saying and be like, oh, nah, that's it. I've seen it. I've seen it. So that's the last little bit I want to give on there. Mimi, we know you gotta go. What's up?
Thank you for staying tuned with another episode. I just want to say thank you for sharing your experience, Terry.
Absolutely.
Always, my condolences to everyone. And then also, remember, your feelings are always valid. So this is Closing Out with Mimi and Terry. We'll see you next time. Peace.